Welcome back to NFL Imperialism. Spin the wheel for selection and direction, and attack or expand until you're the last standing on the land. This time, however, things are a little bit differently because we took a ride in the DeLorean, time traveled backwards, and now we have legends ranging from the 1960s all the way to current present day to the 2020s. I mean, just look at this roster file. I'm going to continue scrolling down and you're going to see it's nothing but 99 overalls. And if I counted correctly, there's a total of 85 99 overalls in this roster file. And of course, we have power-ups. The catalog we have today is relatively basic. We have Afterlife, Double Trouble, Clone, Redeployed, Evolved, and Bandit. And through expansion and conquest, there will be one remaining NFL team on the United States map. So pick your team and stick with them for the remaining of the video, and let's begin with turn number 1. We don't call it Throwback Edition for no reason. I'm going back in time to the time where I didn't use a face cam, but we're going to start with Double Trouble. Alright, so now to this wheel, which has the remaining 26 unoccupied states on it, and it's going to land on the state of South Carolina. That's my home state. That's where Double Trouble is going. So it looks like either the Falcons or the Panthers are up to grab this one. Next up, we will have the Clone power-up, which will be occupied on the state of Alabama. The Atlanta Falcons are in a hella good position right now. Next up will be the Afterlife power-up. Let's see if this one also goes to the south, in which it kind of will. It actually goes to West Virginia. Why does West Virginia always get a power-up? I feel like this exact same thing has happened before too. 3 more will have Bandit. And the Bandit power-up will be placed on the state of Kentucky. I mean, Jesus, everything east of the Mississippi is going to turn into like Normandy Beach. Look at this. This is insane. Well, now we're down to our 2 green power-ups, in which we'll get the Redeployed. And Redeployed will be deployed on the state of New Jersey. Quite a few teams in competition of getting this one. And this will leave us with our final power-up. This is going to be Evolved. Hopefully we'll see something out west, and which we will, Wyoming. So yeah, here's a look at our map. We have 5 of the 6 power-ups on the East Coast. The South is going to be the most relevant it's ever been since the Civil War, with all these power-ups on the map in their area. And with these teams being completely stacked, all these 99 overalls, this is probably be one of the most competitive Imperialism videos yet. So let's start with spin number 1 with turn number 1. Well, I guess it's time to begin NFL Imperialism Throwback Edition with our first wheel spin landing on the New England Patriots. If you haven't guessed it already, Tom Brady will be playing on this team, and I think they'll be expanding. That upwards arrow points towards New Hampshire, so that indeed is an expansion. You know, with it being a Throwback Edition, this expansion is about as useless as drinking the ocean with a straw. I mean, look at first place left outside linebacker. It's miles better than Randy Gregory. Obviously, once teams start to lose, that's when we'll have good players join the pool. Next up is a relatively new team in history. It's the Houston Texans. It would completely surprise me if they end up winning one game. They are a 20-year-old franchise after all. And this 20-year-old franchise has to play like the 100-year-old franchise. This is a David versus Goliath kind of matchup right here. Here's your fun fact of the day. Take it as you will. The Houston Texans have a shorter Super Bowl drought than the Dallas Cowboys, but maybe things can change because they can win an Imperialism episode. Here's Troy Aikman at the quarterback position right here. He has a completion to midfield. I'm surprised to say this, but Dez Bryant caught it. Now from the 48, Aikman delivers another first down completion, spin move, and a flag, and it's going to be face mask against the defense, which is going to push the Cowboys up to the 14-yard line. I have a feeling this Dallas Cowboys team will be hard to beat. Emmitt Smith on the handoff right there. That's a touchdown, and that's just one of the many weapons on this Dallas Cowboys offense, including one of those stacked offensive lines, and then Michael Irvin, Jason Witten, as you can see right there, and Dez Bryant. Well, maybe Deshaun Watson can answer back. This was before it all went wrong, and the answer is no. Troy Aikman and the Dallas Cowboys take care of business. They're going to knock the Texans back into the Oilers, and now the starting left end for the Dallas Cowboys is going to be J.J. Watt. You know, I can't really blame the Texans. You can't really win Throwback Edition without having a time to throw it back to. And that'll put us down to 31 total franchises. We'll go to the Denver Broncos, in which the CEOs of expansions are back at again. They can only expand here, and they'll go towards the right. And this will come in direct contact with the state of Kansas. And so with now the Houston Texans being eliminated, their best player will join on the Denver Broncos through this expansion, that being Andre Johnson. It's actually crazy to say this, but the Denver Broncos could actually be a threat in this video. Now we'll have the Washington Redskins. I am not calling them the Commanders in this video. That's because throughout their entire franchise history that they won 4 Super Bowls in, they were not known as the Commanders. They're gonna get an expansion here, and that will go down south and claim Virginia. And this expansion will claim another player from the pool, another eliminated Houston Texans, and more recent legend as well, DeAndre Hopkins. A handful of expansions to begin this video, but now we'll take over from the Buffalo Bills. The Bills are stuck between a rock and a hard place from their location right now. They have to play a pretty good team. It's gonna go down to Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania. This arrow was just a matter of fact of which side it was closest to, and it's actually diagonal leaning left, which means it's closer to the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is a tough matchup for the Buffalo Bills. To my surprise, the steel curtain has been playing like the plastic curtain today, and now Najee Harris, which I'm surprised is the best running back the Pittsburgh Steelers history, just took the handoff right there for 7 yards. But I mean, you're talking about one of these teams has the most Super Bowls in NFL history. The other team lost 4 in a row. Now Najee Harris, another handoff. He gets the outside and decently makes his way to the 27-yard line. I guess you could say it's the Steelers defense that gave him all those Super Bowl titles years past. Now Terry Bradshaw on the pass delivers this one first down completion to the 15. Interested to see how the Pittsburgh Steelers play this, but they're going to hand it off to Najee Harris, and he scores a premature touchdown. I don't know if I like the call. Looks like Josh Allen is the starter quarterback. One of them throws 4 picks a game. The other quarterback, Jim Kelly, loses 4 Super Bowls in a row. Pick your poison. But Josh Allen completes this one to Stephon Diggs. No, it's a pass breakup. What a drop. Gonna try that again. I believe this is a check down. Is that O.J. Simpson running that fast? First down and 10 from the 43. No, it's not. It's Thomas. Only one shot remaining for the Buffalo Bills. 4th and 8. Can he at least get the completion here for 8 yards? And he gets more than he bargained for with a touchdown. That's gonna take the lead over the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Bills would also get the 2-point conversion that closes out 28-25 in what I think is a stunning upset over the Pittsburgh Steelers, a very dominant team in history. Lots of good possible pickups from the Pittsburgh Steelers, but I decided to take the hardest hitting player known to man, Troy Polamalu. Now that won't be the last we'll see of a lot of the Pittsburgh Steelers players, because a lot of them are hitting the pool and they're definitely going to get picked up eventually. I can't remember the last time the Steelers have done anything in Imperialism. Now we'll go to the New Orleans Saints. So they either take on the Cowboys or they expand. I think they'd rather expand here. And in fact, they'll head up north and take control of Arkansas. And with this expansion, they'll take a Steeler from the pool, that being 99 overall Rod Woodson. Back to the spin, and we'll get the Kansas City Chiefs. And it looks as the Kansas City Chiefs will be taking on, maybe the Chicago Bears. Looks like the high-powered offensive Chiefs will take on the high-powered defensive Chicago Bears. I'm interested to see who will win this one. We might be in the timeline where the time traveler kicks a rock, because never would I ever believe that Jay Cutler would be tied with the Kansas City Chiefs 35 apiece right now. High-scoring game, 2nd and 5 with 1:20. There's definitely a chance they can get in field goal range here with 3 timeouts, and this completion right here by Jay Cutler puts him at the 49-yard line. Definitely wasn't expecting to say this dude's name in this video, but that was Alshon Jeffrey, the legend from South Carolina. Now we're going to have Brandon Marshall involved with another first down catch. And after an Alshon Jeffrey and Brandon Marshall catch, Robbie Gould has a chance to bring up the Bears by 3. Hopefully he doesn't double doink this one. Nonetheless, he makes it up and through 38-35. Looks like we just took a pit stop in 1985 because the Chicago Bears actually just won a meaningful game. Now I feel bad for Taylor Swift because she has to sit in those sucky and ancient 100-year-old suites in Soldier Field. But hey, don't get too used to this, Bears fans. This is Throwback Edition. Only in Throwback Edition shall the Chicago Bears beat the Kansas City Chiefs, but now have the Cleveland Browns. The only Cleveland Brown Hall of Famer I can think of in my head right now is Jim Brown, and they probably will be playing the Cincinnati Bengals. And that means the winner between the Browns and the Bengals will take control of their entire home state of Ohio. I'm actually fairly surprised at how good of a game this ended up turning out to be. It's 35 apiece right now, and we have a first down pickup in overtime from Otto Graham, the quarterback. Hand off to Nick Chubb. He gets the outside. Can he possibly get the touchdown in? He will. The Browns will take a lead in overtime, and the Bengals will have to respond. I'm super surprised that Otto Graham had a drive that good. I mean, this dude was playing before the dawn of segregation. That means he was playing against a bunch of white dudes who were cashiers and tugboat drivers. Believe it or not, the best quarterback in Bengals history is apparently Joe Burrow, and I really can't blame them because look at that pass completion right there, the Jamar Chase, now at the 45. So here's the 4th down and 5 from the 40-yard line where Joe Burrow is going to stand still, delivers, and will have the first down to the 29. Another 4th down situation for Joe Burrow, and this time it's much worse. 4th and 16, 16 yards needed to win the game. He's going to stay in the pocket looking for a pass. He could easily run this one, but he's not. He slings this one to the end zone, and it's intercepted, and that will end the game in overtime with the Cleveland Browns finishing a win 42-35. And you know I had to do it. Chad Johnson, aka Chad Ochocinco, is now a Cleveland Brown. I can already tell this is bound to be the goofiest Imperialism ever. I mean, the Bengals and Chiefs getting knocked out this early is just bizarre. Congratulations, you just got pranked. I am now using my face cam, and we'll go down south to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Remember, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers starting position is almost as bad as shipment spawns in Modern Warfare. As you can see, they are completely surrounded by 2 teams, which means whichever area arrow we get, closest it's going to land to will be the team they will play. Also, doesn't really help that the Buccaneers are not really a historical franchise. They don't have a lot of good players, and I think this arrow is going closer to Miami. But who knows, we've seen a lot of close games today. Maybe we can see one more as the Buccaneers travel to the Miami Dolphins. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are the worst winning franchise in history of the NFL. They have the worst win percentage, which is kind of funny to say that they're beating the Miami Dolphins right now. So Dan Marino is at QB for the Miami Dolphins, down by 3, and he's got him into field goal range plus some more inside the 5. It's a touchdown for the Miami Dolphins. Did they strike too fast? Who knows? Now Doug Williams and the Buccaneers will get the football. I don't know why I'm being such a nerd today. I'm just giving you so many fun facts because Doug Williams is the first African-American quarterback to ever win a Super Bowl, and he has a pass completion right there to midfield. Did he win it with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Hell no. He won it with the Washington Redskins when they were still allowed to be called that. Down by 4 points, another pass completion by Doug Williams. This is going to put him at the 27. From the 27, Williams delivers and has a pass completion to the 2-yard line. Could this be the best quarterback in Tampa Bay Buccaneers history to wear the number 12? I think so. And a broken tackle running into the touchdown for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to take a 27-24 lead by Martin. And point proven here, 2nd down and 10. Dan Marino from the Dolphins logo looking like he's going to take an end zone shot, but knows he stays short for the first down. They pick it up and they're in field goal range. And to send this game to OT, 27 apiece. If he makes this, sure enough, we'll have some extra minutes to be played. Well, first possession of overtime, Doug Williams has to get at least 7 yards here from his own 22-yard line. Delivers another pass completion. Oh, wait, no, he's out of bounds. They're going to have to punt the football. Dan Marino is essentially 2 first downs away from putting him in field goal range, or he can make it in 1 because they're now at the 38. That was Jarvis Landry who came up with that completion a couple passes ago. Miami Dolphin legend. Now they're going to hand the ball off, which somehow we have a freight train run into the end zone. I don't know how he broke both those tackles, but that's an overtime game winner for the Miami Dolphins, and they'll take control of all of South Florida. No matter what team you beat, you're probably going to get a 99 overall because let's face it, even the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who don't have a lot of legends, they still have 99 overalls, including Derrick Brooks, who's now a Miami Dolphin. Not saying it's 1972, but is it possible we can see an undefeated run by these Miami Dolphins? It's been a highly competitive episode so far with only 5 teams eliminated. Now the Dallas Cowboys are back. The Cowboys will more than likely expand here as it looks like they're going towards Oklahoma, and that's exactly what will happen here as they're now going to share a border with the Broncos and Bears. You know, this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity which I cannot pass on. Antonio Brown to the Dallas Cowboys only makes sense. It's kind of hard to choose players in the pool from expansions because there are so many 99 overalls, but next up is the Green Bay Packers, and in which, if I'm being honest, I have no clue who's going to be the starting quarterback for Green Bay. It could be Brett Favre or Aaron Rodgers. And this era was really close, but I'm going to say it just skimmed the border of the Upper Peninsula, which of course is owned by Michigan, which of course is under the control of the Detroit Lions. So we have a division matchup in Throwback Edition. Well, this was actually our first game today, which was not really that competitive, and it makes sense because the Detroit Lions only really have one Hall of Fame player, which is well known throughout their history as a franchise. That being Barry Sanders, who will join forces with the Green Bay Packers, and this might be the most cursed thing you've seen all day. You know, I just realized how fraudulent that statement was because the Detroit Lions also had Calvin Johnson and Night Train Lane, so those are 2 other players. I guess you could say there was 3 well-known players in the Lions. But yeah, anyways, here's a map update with 6 teams eliminated. Still, all 6 power-ups remain. If you're a returning viewer of the channel, you know I like to jinx things a lot, which means the power-up is probably going to be used this turn, but we have the Philadelphia Eagles. And it's actually completely hilarious that I just said that because they are right next to New Jersey, which has a power-up, and it's going that way. Honestly, at this point, my videos feel more scripted than the NFL itself because, like I just said, we have an expansion for our first power-up of the video. And you know what? I feel kind of bad for downsizing Calvin Johnson Jr. earlier, so I'll add him on to the Philadelphia Eagles. Okay, so how does this power-up work? Well, it's actually really easy, and honestly, it's not really a power-up. It's not really going to help him that much. Matter of fact, it could probably do worse because this is the redeployed power-up, in which I'm going to spin this wheel right here again. Whatever team it lands on, the Eagles will get the swap land areas with. So let's just see what the movement of our map is going to look like, and the Eagles will swap with the Vikings. So this is what the map will look like before the redeploy takes place, and this is what it looks like afterwards. And to be honest, I think the Philadelphia Eagles actually got pretty lucky. This is actually good for them. They got out of there. Like, honestly, I don't blame them. I would have done the same thing too, because now the Minnesota Vikings are stuck between a rock and a hard place. Look how many good teams are surrounding them, and it's just packed full of a lot of teams up in the Northeast. So that's one power up down, and now we will continue. We'll finally go out to the West Coast for the LA Rams. And similar to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Rams are in a pretty sucky place as well. As you can see, they have 3 options, and it's always the same 3 options: the Niners, Raiders, or Chargers. So once again, we'll spin one arrow, whatever it's closest to will be the option they will play. And by the look of this arrow spin, it's going to be closest to the LA Chargers. It's going down south. So yeah, this is a classic matchup in Imperialism. It always happens. It's always going to be the battle of LA. Who is going to win it this time? You know, it's actually kind of crazy how many stars are in this game. A lot more than I thought there were, but Kurt Warner destroys the LA Chargers, which means one Charger is going to join up with the LA Rams. Considering the LA Rams already have Marshall Faulk and Eric Dickerson, I passed on giving them LaDainian Tomlinson, instead gave him Antonio Gates, 99 overall tight end, which means the next team to expand is probably going to be blessed. They'll probably be getting LaDainian Tomlinson. And now on to turn number 8, where we'll start with the New York Jets. I'm 100% sure their quarterback is probably going to be Joe Namath. He's the best quarterback they've literally ever had. Looks like we have another in-state battle to knock out, as both the New Jersey, New York teams will play. It's the Jets versus the Giants. Good thing this is Throwback Edition, because you will not catch me watching a Jets-Giants game anytime soon. But here's Joe Namath on the 360 no-scope pass out of bounds for a 4-yard gain, 2nd and 6 from the 44. 3rd down and 7, Namath slings this one for a pass completion, 1st down and 10 from the 45. Half a minute remaining, Namath is going to get another pass completion to the 18-yard line and out of bounds. Literally have no clue who these people are. They all have one bar as a face mask. That's how old and ancient all their good players are. Now or never for Broadway Joe from the 6 towards the end zone. Open receiver, touchdown, extra point, ties this. They're actually going for 2. This is definitely a Joe Broadway play right here, and they didn't get it. Okay. Well, you know, I don't hate the decision. I mean, after all, Broadway Joe's only won really one important game in his entire career. It was the Super Bowl 60 years ago. And it looks like the Big Blue will be adding on to their land area in 2 ways, as they'll acquire Revis Island. And the other way, of course, that being they will knock out the New York Jets, and they will own over half of New York. Now only left is the Buffalo Bills. We have now successfully made it a quarter way through. 24 teams remaining, and next up is the Carolina Panthers. I have 0 expectations for this team, but maybe they can surprise me as they go down to probably South Carolina. Okay, you know what? Maybe the South should be a little concerned, because with this expansion, they're going to get to add a player, but they're also going to get the Double Trouble Power-Up. Which, of course, for your returning viewers who already know, the Double Trouble Power-Up allows you to steal 2 players instead of 1 for every successful win. And in which the player they get for expanding, I feel like the Panthers could use a really good offensive weapon. They don't need LT because they have Christian McCaffrey, so I decided to give them Tony Gonzalez. Could the Panthers be a sleeper team for today's video? Who knows? We'll go back to Foxborough for Tom Brady and the New England Patriots. This is their first move since expanding really early on in this video, and it might be another expansion. Yes, it will be, as it's going to graze through Connecticut. And now looks like to be the perfect time to finally give up LaDainian Tomlinson. He is going to be a New England Patriot. I don't think the league is ready for Tom Brady to play his first game, but next up is the Baltimore Ravens. Where will they be heading? And it looks like up north. And as you can see, it's a dead shot above the Baltimore Ravens, which is now the Minnesota Vikings. So yeah, it was a good thing the Eagles got out of there, because this is a tough matchup for both teams. Not to state the obvious, but the Minnesota Vikings are a very dominant franchise, but they always had one problem: they would always come up short. And right now, the Baltimore Ravens are looking to do exactly what everyone does against the Vikings in history, and that's going to barely pull out a win. As the 2-minute warning comes in, it's a 1-point game. Definitely surprised to see Lamar Jackson at quarterback, but I guess he is the best quarterback in Ravens history. We have a flag in this play. I think it might add 15 yards, which is just essentially going to put the Ravens in field goal range. That was easy. 3rd down and 8 for Lamar Jackson, and what should have been intercepted, that would have won the game if it wasn't for Hendricks to tap it up, because now this gives an opportunity for Justin Tucker to take a 2-point lead. But I do gotta say, there is a minute and 20 left. The Vikings still have a chance. Just think, the 3 receivers right now in the Minnesota Vikings are Randy Moss, Justin Jefferson, and Chris Carter. And there is Randy Moss on the pass completion, gets them to the 44-yard line. No, I lied, that's Chris Carter. They ended up calling their final timeout, and now from the 44, they get the 1st down, but they don't have any timeout, so they have to kick a field goal. They just have to line up and kick it now. And of course, Madden is dumb as a brick, so that's not going to happen. Will they even get a playoff? At least they get a playoff, but that was probably the worst possible play in history right there. What is even happening? Vikings deserve to lose this. And with this loss, one of those 3 Minnesota Viking receivers I was talking about will join the Ravens. That's of course going to be Randy Moss. Yeah, I definitely do feel a little bad for the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, they were sitting pretty up north next to the Green Bay Packers, was their only competition, and then not to mention also Madden just kind of screwed them over with that horrible play call, but nonetheless, they are now eliminated. Alright, turn number 10, we will start with the Jacksonville Jaguars. And we've seen the situation played out already a few times today, that being that they are actually sandwiched between 2 teams, so a roll and arrow, whatever it's closest to will be the team they play. And the arrow will point closer to the Miami Dolphins. So the winner of this matchup will take the entirety of Florida. I'm not gonna lie to you, I expected an outcome something like this. I mean, the Jacksonville Jaguars' best players like Jalen Ramsey or something. Sure enough, the best player I can give up from Jacksonville is Jalen Ramsey, which makes sense considering that he actually plays in Miami now. You know, usually in past episodes, I felt bad for the Miami Dolphins because they're trapped in South Florida and they can't escape. But to be fair, playing the Buccaneers and the Jaguars in a throwback edition with Hall of Fame legends is honestly kind of a cupcake schedule if you ask me. So now the Dolphins hold the entirety of Florida and we're down to 22 teams. Looks like we're getting rid of the not so iconic franchises, but now we'll go to the Philadelphia Eagles now in Minnesota. Their options are the Green Bay Packers or an expansion, and ooh, this is close. You know, if it wasn't for this dip in Minnesota right here, this wouldn't have happened. As you can see, very close between the Green Bay Packers and a potential Iowa expansion, but nonetheless, Eagles are traveling to Lambeau Field. A very star-studded matchup here at Lambeau Field in overtime. A first down completion for A.J. Brown is going to put the Eagles at the 48. This is the first possession as well. Play action pass, McNabb up the middle, and we have a touchdown in overtime for the first possession. The Green Bay Packers have to answer. Well, Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers will take over. Rodgers scrambles out, throws it 60 yards off his back foot, almost completes it, but it looks like Rodgers makes up for it as he threads the needle up here midfield, has a completion to the 45. And Rodgers is going to scramble out again, looking to find the room to throw it, but he's actually going to take a sack, loses 20 yards, picked up by the Eagles, and this game's over. I mean, just your typical playoff choke by Aaron Rodgers. Please go to New York. I don't want you here anymore. The Packers were a team I did not think would get bounced this early. Definitely a star-studded legendary roster from all time. They literally have 4 Super Bowls with some of the greatest players of all time, but they lose to the Philadelphia Eagles. Go figure. And definitely a lot of good players to choose from, but I'm going to take 99 overall cornerback Charles Woodson. I mean, just look at this domino effect. The Philadelphia Eagles, who got the redeployed power-up, which sometimes could screw them over, actually worked out in their favor, and the team they swapped with, the Minnesota Vikings, they lost, so definitely worked out pretty good for the Eagles. 21 teams remain, and we'll continue with the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals will take their armies, and it looks like they're going to attack towards maybe New Mexico. That does come in contact, so that's going to be counted as an expansion. And thanks to the Green Bay Packers just being eliminated, Barry Sanders joined the pool, and now he's an Arizona Cardinal. The Arizona Cardinals desperately needed that because, let's face it, they're definitely underdogs for today's video. And next up, we have the LA Rams. Like normal, the Rams have 3 possibilities here, and it could be going towards San Francisco. You know, this is kind of a funny phrase to say, but imperialism is a game of pixels, because look at this. Look how close this line was to being a matchup with the Vegas Raiders, and that would be 100% easier than playing the San Francisco 49ers, who I think is probably the best team on paper with all the legends they have. Rams, best of luck, you're heading to San Francisco. And like I expected, this is a tough game for the Rams, but they still have a chance. They're down by 4 points, and they have all 3 timeouts. Former grocery bagger is going to have to work his magic one more time if he wants to win here. They only pick up 5 yards, and they have to burn a timeout here. So 70 yards to go. They're still just getting barely chips of it. Another timeout burned. That's just not going to do much. Only 9 yards gained. And 3rd and 7 from the 42. We have a completion downfield, and they're going to have to burn their final timeout, but with 20 seconds, they're at the 34-yard line. 10 seconds remaining. Hopefully he can do that again, but this time have a successful touchdown pass. He just dumps it off short and game's over. Like, what are you even trying to do there? The Rams definitely tried, but they didn't try hard enough, as the 49ers would get this win 30-28. Joe Montana and Jerry Rice, oh, so many stars on that team. They come victorious. And it looks as they're going to add another star. This is the first one who's actually currently playing today, Aaron Donald. And that being said, California is reunited as a whole under the San Francisco 49ers command. And here's what our map looks like as we continue on with the top 20 teams. I think I need to speak this into existence again. We need a power up to be used. It's been a minute since we've seen one. Next up is the Tennessee Titans. I really have no clue why this keeps happening, but there's more than a 50% chance that the Tennessee Titans will get a power up here. They just need this arrow to point either up or down, and it's going up. I really don't know why this keeps on happening. I mean, I should like attempt to play the lottery or hit up the casino or something. This is kind of wild. But now the Tennessee Titans got the Bandit power up, which is pretty self-explanatory. They're going to get to steal 2 players at random from 2 separate selected teams. The first act of matter, however, is to give them their player per expansion. So I decided to get them Justin Jefferson from the pool, now a Tennessee Titan. Alright, so now for the Bandit power up. As you can see, we're back in the wheel. I'm going to spin it twice. Whatever teams it land on, they get to steal 1 player from that team. So they're going to steal a player from the Denver Broncos, and then they're also going to be able to steal a player from the Chicago Bears. Alright, starting from the player that they're going to steal from the Denver Broncos, I decided to give them 99 overall X Factor Von Miller. And well, who will they steal from the Chicago Bears? It's also going to be another 99 X Factor, this time Travis Kelce. The reason I did both these players is because they have X Factor. Obviously, you can't give an X Factor to a custom created player. An X Factor is actually really strong, so that's why I gave them both these players. And just like that, the Tennessee Titans are now the most threatening team on the map. Oh, once again, we're going to land on them again. Maybe they'll get to play a game this time. This turn is all about them, and it's going to go dead shot towards the East Coast, and that's going to go right into North Carolina. Now, if the Carolina Panthers can actually pull out a win here, remember they do have the double trouble power up. They'll get to steal basically Von Miller and Travis Kelce right from the Titans. Let's just see what's going to happen. Definitely not the score I was expecting between these two teams. You're talking Cam Newton, prime Cam Newton offense, and then this Tennessee Titans offense, which now has Justin Jefferson and Travis Kelce. But nonetheless, Cam Newton got to get a field goal in this drive right here, down by 3. In which this is the final play of the game now, and Cam Newton's finally going to take an end zone shot. This is what they should have been doing the entire time. It results in nothing, and the Tennessee Titans will hold on, and they'll get to steal a player for the Carolina Panthers. And so actually a pretty solid pickup for Tennessee. It's going to be Luke Kuechly. Well, so much for that double triple power up that the Carolina Panthers just wasted away. Continuing on from what I believe is turn number 14, we'll finally hit the Atlanta Falcons. And to the left of the Atlanta Falcons is the clone power up. Let's see if they're lucky enough to get it. They will not be. Instead, they'll be traveling to the new dynasty on the map. That's going to be the Tennessee Titans, who currently control quite a bit of land. But to my surprise, I thought the 404 was outnumbered in this game, but they're actually outnumbering the Tennessee Titans, which Warren Moon is at quarterback, rocking the Oilers throwbacks, and they just reached the 2-minute warning from the 22. So they line back up with a minute and 20 on the clock, which is pretty good management, and they'll have a good completion here, which is going to put them in Atlanta's territory to the 43. 55 seconds left. Warren Moon, and has another completion. Nobody was guarding Travis Kelce, who they just picked up for the Chicago Bears. If only they had 4 Deion Sanders on the field right now. However, they don't, but Warren Moon is stuttering. He cannot find a pass, has to throw to the corner of the end zone, but no one's on Travis Kelce, who will tie this game up for Tennessee. I love how gutsy these throwback teams are because they're going for 2. Warren Moon in empty formation has Kelce in the flat, doesn't go that way, and instead throws a pick. If he would just taken his reads to the other direction of the field, he would have won the game, but the Atlanta Falcons will hold on 27-26. This is definitely a hard selection to say because of all the 99s on the Tennessee Titans, but the way Travis Kelce played that game, I couldn't pass on it. He is now an Atlanta Falcon. And just think, I thought the Tennessee Titans were becoming a new threat. Nope. Just like Qui-Gon Jinn used to say, there's always a bigger fish. Turn number 15 will continue with the Cleveland Browns. Lots of possibilities for Cleveland here, but they're going towards the left. And we had a pretty close toss-up era between the Eagles and Indianapolis Colts. It actually goes through Indiana first, so that means the Browns will be taking on the Colts. This is the first time we'll see Peyton Manning in action today. Still at the 25, still looking for 10 yards, still looking for a bit more, and barreling in for the touchdown as the Browns will almost tie it to Chad Ochocinco, who gets on the board, who's wearing 86. That's not Ochocinco, that's Ocho Sice. Touchdown doesn't win it, but it sure enough will put him in a position to do so as, oh my goodness, Autogram throws an interception. The Colts just need any points on the board now. 2nd and 3 for the 27. Peyton Manning's first pass has a completion here, off to the races from the 50-yard line into Browns territory. Reggie Wayne with a catch right there, and Peyton Manning's going to sling it again. Another completion. That's going to put him at the 29. They're basically close to a field goal now. From the 6, we have a handoff. Can we have a touchdown to end the game? We can, and the Indianapolis Colts have done their first ever Imperialism game ever on my channel, and that's going to be against the Cleveland Browns. I know what you're thinking. What's the point of Legends Edition if I'm only going to steal current day players? Well, to be fair, Myles Garrett is definitely the best player to take here. I mean, obviously, he's a legend already as well. But I'm more happy to say, for the first time ever, this Colts Blue will be taking over some territory. Oh, wow, not that much. And it's kind of weird to say, but honestly, I believe they have a shot. And now on to turn number 15, where we'll pick up with the Dallas Cowboys. Handful of options for the Dallas Cowboys, but I believe they'll be taking their armies out west to Arizona. So yes, it's a southwestern battle between the Cardinals and the Cowboys. And you know, to be fair, this was kind of the result I was expecting. It's not that the Arizona Cardinals are not a historic franchise, but to be fair, they have never won a Super Bowl in like their 75 years as a franchise, but nonetheless, the Dallas Cowboys are much better. You know, I had to pass on players such as Barry Sanders and Larry Fitzgerald, but to be honest, the Cowboys didn't even need them. They already have 99s in the board everywhere at this position, so I decided to upgrade their safety position with Larry Wilson. And if your team is still on the map, congratulations, your team survived the halfway point. We have 16 remaining teams and still 3 power-ups remaining as well. So now for turn number 17, we'll get the Indianapolis Colts again. Plenty of tough empires surrounding the Indianapolis Colts, but I think they might be going down to Atlanta. Definitely closer than I thought, but this for sure hits contact with a sea of red, so that means the Atlanta Falcons will play the Indianapolis Colts. Second possession of OT, it's up to the Atlanta Falcons to answer back with Michael Vick at quarterback, and he throws an interception on the only pass you'll see from him in this video. Lovely. Once again, it's Bobby Boyd. I did not know this dude was so good. He is the new lockdown quarterback threat in the league, but the Indianapolis Colts will win 38-31 in OT. Unfortunately, Bobby Boyd's job is getting taken at the number 1 quarterback position because Deion Sanders' prime time has made his way to Indianapolis. Well, before this episode, the Colts had 0 Imperialism wins, and now you can go ahead and mark it up to 2. So now we're starting to cut into the top 16 teams with 15 remaining, and the Chicago Bears are next. I would be a little scared, Bears, because right next to your border is the Indianapolis Colts. Good thing you're going the complete opposite direction. And by going the opposite direction, they'd actually come in contact with Iowa, which is going to be counted as an expansion. You know, if I had a nickel for every time Travis Kelce was on the Bears this video, I would have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it's happened twice. Pretty solid pickup to bring him back to the edition, and now we'll finally have the New England Patriots. Will they play their first game? If you can't tell already, I've been waiting for Tom Brady to play a game, and he might be going towards New York here. And yes, that does go through New York. However, I am a little concerned for the Patriots because I believe the quarterback for the Giants is Eli Manning. That's something to look out for, Tom Brady. And so it begins. Tom Brady is about to start probably one of the worst Imperialism runs you'll ever see. I hope this doesn't go on too long, but they're going to take out the New York Giants. Eli Manning was not a threat this time. Definitely a surprise. He's definitely not his father. And now Tom Brady will have another defensive stud to carry him to victory. It's going to be Lawrence Taylor. So the Patriots have been holding back this video. They've been building up their armies. They've already expanded twice, but now it looks like they're finally attacking as they take down their first team. 14 teams remaining will have the Miami Dolphins. I don't think they have a choice here. You know what? Actually, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. They do have a slight chance that they have an arrow point this way, but once again, we're just going to do the 1 arrow spin. Whatever it's closest to, that is what they're going to get. So they actually have a 50% chance of getting the clone power up. I was pretty nice to you guys, so you better capitalize on it. And no, your arrow is still going towards the right, which is going to be closer to the Indianapolis Colts. So the Dolphins have a long ways to travel all the way to Indianapolis. I don't know what happened there. It's going to be Dolphins versus Colts. This is a game-changing 4th down. They need to convert here. Marino throws, completes, first down and 10, and they will not call a timeout as we have 1:30 remaining from the 42. I would say this is about a 48-yard field goal kick in which it is good, but the Colts do have a chance. They played really good defense. They get the ball back with 1 minute. Peyton Manning has exactly 1 minute to get about 50 yards, but look out, here comes a sack, and they're going to save their timeout, which unfortunately is the right decision, but they're going to lose half the clock right here. All they can hope for is like a 50-yard pass completion, then a timeout called in midfield. I mean, honestly, that's not bad right there. He almost broke through all of it, but they call a timeout at the 47, and so Hail Mary it is. They were about 10 yards short from range, so Peyton Manning's just going to throw it off his back foot to the end zone, maybe hope there's pass interference or something. There's nothing. Game is over. The Miami Dolphins will win by 2, 23-21 in Indianapolis. Well, Deion Sanders is starting to get tossed around for 500 miles around the country, kind of like Colorado's defense, as he's now a Miami Dolphin. And I'm going to keep this one super zoomed out because we're about to see a lot of land change, as this Indianapolis blue will now turn the Dolphin blue. Dolphins own land from the bottom of Miami all the way up to Cleveland, Ohio. But you know, I give my flowers to the Indianapolis Colts. They've never won a game, and they've won 2 in this video, so props to them. Now we begin turn number 20, and I don't think I've mentioned this, but I'm sorry about the glowing white light behind me. The sun is currently beaming through my room right now. But next up is the Philadelphia Eagles. It's been a minute since we've last seen the Eagles, and I think they'll be playing the Chicago Bears. And that seems to be the case because this arrow is going down to Illinois for a dead shot for the Chicago Bears. In Soldier Field, it's the Eagles and Bears. Well, after that 1-yard catch for Walter Payton, it's a 3rd down and 9, which we have a quick pass to Travis Kelce. That's why I brought him back to Chicago. They call a timeout at the 4-yard line. Jay Cutler 4 yards out. He's scanning the field, but it looks out for the sack as he's going to get taken down here by Jalen Carter. and it looks like they're gonna wait to save their final timeout and probably just kick a field goal. Out of all the legends on the field, somehow Jalen Carter came up with that sack, and it ties the game at 24 going into OT. I don't know what just happened, but I think I just witnessed a kick return. I never watch kick returns because nothing ever happens, but the one time something happens, it's a return for a touchdown, and the Eagles just walked it off. Are you kidding me? Of course, Deshaun Jackson just had a house call for a kick return touchdown. Like, are you... So the Eagles just won 30-24. Maybe I should stop watching TikTok while we're kicking the football off. Where did Jalen Hurts go? All right, here's what happened from a bird's eye view. It was kicked off. Deshaun Jackson takes it back at the 5-yard line. He finds a wide open hole with some really good blocks by the Eagles, and he is gone for the distance now. That is how it happened. The Eagles walked it off with this touchdown. And that means the Walter Payton Sweetness will join the city of brotherly love. You know, that was such a Chicago Bear way to lose the football game, and it really sucks too, because honestly I think they were pretty solid contenders. They had a lot of good players on their team. And now we've reached the point with 12 teams remaining. Turn number 21 will pick up with the Seattle Seahawks. We haven't seen them today. All they can do is really expand. It's just a matter of what it's closest to. It's probably going to go towards Idaho. So yes, we'll grant them this expansion here to the Potato State. You know, at this point there's so many 99 overalls, it really doesn't matter who I give them, but why not I just go ahead and strengthen up the Legion of Boom? Give them Revis Island. And now the Seahawks will share a border with the Vegas Raiders, but next up is the San Francisco 49ers. So the Niners have three options. It's either A, expand up to Oregon, B, take on the Vegas Raiders, or somehow C, play the Dallas Cowboys. We'll just do one arrow spin, whatever it's closest to is their matchup. This arrow spin is going to point closest to, looks like the Vegas Raiders. And even though it was pretty close, it still scrapes the top of Nevada, so we have a matchup between the Niners and the Raiders. These two teams hate each other. I do think the Niners have this game on lockdown. Their only issue is to not score too fast. It's 2nd and 3. They are in field goal range. They're going to hand the ball off. They get the first down. That's exactly what they needed, and they'll start calling timeouts to kick a field goal. Well, this should be an easy 3 points for the Niners as they do so right here. 23-21. God forbid we see another kick return happen. Well, who knows what can happen. This is the final play for Rich Gannon at quarterback for the Vegas Raiders. Maybe pass interference. He actually has a completion, but there's 0 seconds on the board. Niners will get a win out west against their rival, the Raiders. And now the Niners have a new 99 overall cornerback, considering they never had Deion Sanders. He was a Falcon. This is going to be Willie Brown. And now it looks like we're just inching closer and closer to the matchup I want to see, and that's going to be the Cowboys versus the Niners. Turn number 22 with 11 teams remaining, back to the New Orleans Saints. It's been a minute since we've seen them. If I'm the Saints, I'd hope I get an arrow to the east, because I really don't want to play the Dallas Cowboys right now, and that is actually going dead east. And that's because east of them is the state of Hotty Toddy. That's Mississippi. They're going to get an expansion and a player. And you know, just by the way he's been playing this video, I just can't leave him out. He's definitely been a big weapon for any team that has him. So this is like the 800th team that has him. It's now the New Orleans Saints. I'm still wondering when the next Powerup is going to go off the map, but next up we have the New England Patriots. Let's see if the Patriots will continue their streak playing another game, and I think that might be going towards Baltimore. And this was a very close arrow. It just goes over the tri-state area and comes in contact with New Jersey, which is under the control of the purple Baltimore Ravens. Next up is the Patriots and the Ravens. First possession of overtime, and Tom Brady could be in a little bit of trouble. He's at 3rd down and 15 from his own 33-yard line. They don't get this, they gotta punt the football away. But Brady has been clutch in these scenarios in his career as he's going for a long shot deep downfield. Could have been picked, but good thing it wasn't, because that would have been an arm punt. Instead, the Patriots will have to punt and rely on their defense. Lamar Jackson can stun the Patriots as he has a read option here. Oh my goodness, I've never seen anything more nastier in Madden like that. A 1st down and 10, which has gone to the 47 after an insane juke. They're not satisfied with that, however, because they want the 6, and they got it, and that's how this game will end. What a performance for the Ravens to take down what I thought was going to be the biggest threat, Tom Brady and the New England Patriots. The Ravens are victorious. And if you remember from a long time back, the Patriots expanded and they ended up picking up LaDainian Tomlinson, who is now going to be part of the Baltimore Ravens. Well, everyone, you can thank the Baltimore Ravens for restoring the peace and balance in this video, because let's be honest, who wanted to see this result in the Patriots' favor? And with that Patriots elimination, we have now cracked the top 10. And as you can see, I just adjusted the logo sizes to fit better with their land area. And here's our top 10 teams: the Seahawks, Niners, Broncos, Cowboys, Saints, Eagles, Dolphins, Commanders, Bills, and Ravens. Still 3 power-ups though. I just realized I accidentally called the Redskins the Commanders. But next up is the Dallas Cowboys. Alright Cowboys, who is it going to be? You have a lot of big matchups next to you. I think we finally got the matchup I've been looking for. This is going towards the West Coast. Well, yes, I wasn't lying. It is going towards the West Coast, but as you can see on the diagonal it actually comes in contact with Utah first. So we have an expansion. This is going to be a very weird land area for the Cowboys, because now they just bridged the gap between the Broncos and the Niners, and they also will share a border with the Seattle Seahawks, which means it is possible to play them as well. The only position I saw somewhat low for the Cowboys was their middle linebacker, so I decided to give them Brian Urlacher from the Chicago Bears at 99 overall. We're still just barely waiting for that next matchup between the Cowboys and Niners, but here's the Miami Dolphins. I moved the Dolphins out of Florida. It's definitely going to help them a lot, as this arrow could be pointing up to the Midwest. Now, this arrow ended up being a lot closer than I thought it would be. It almost hit the edge of Virginia right here, but no, it just barely dodges it, and it's actually going to go up towards Illinois, owned by the Philadelphia Eagles. This is a really good matchup in the top 10. The Eagles versus the Dolphins. We've seen one too many overtime games in this video, but I guess that's the result I just didn't expect to see, with teams being 95 plus overall rating. But 24 apiece, 3rd down and 5 for Dan Marino. Just needs 5 yards to stay alive on this drive, and he has to throw it out of bounds, which means they have to kick a field goal, and they'll give it back to the Eagles. Well, here's the kick to make it 27-24. Good. The Eagles have a chance to score a touchdown to win the game. Walter Payton on the carry. Weird to say his name on the Eagles, but a big completion here and a broken tackle. Deshaun Jackson, if he gets the touchdown, this game's over, but he couldn't quite do it. But nonetheless, to the 15. Donovan McNabb will hand it off to Walter Payton. He has an angle. There's a flag, though. This could be coming back. Jason Kelce got called for a holding. That definitely hurts, but here's a completion, and 1st down and goal from the 3. They just need a touchdown here to win the game. It's intercepted. The Dolphins will win. Jalen Ramsey, are you kidding me, Donovan McNabb? You had one job. Just run it off with Walter Payton. Huge win for Dan Marino and the Dolphins. I'm surprised to say that Dan Marino is actually winning important games. And a very tough decision, because the Eagles had a lot of players to give up, but why not give them Reggie White? And I gotta say, this is a very weird land area for the Miami Dolphins. They now own land from St. Paul, Minnesota to Miami, Florida, stretching basically the entire Mississippi region. But I should give a proper send-off to the Philadelphia Eagles, because they did pretty solid this video, but it wasn't enough. Getting down to the wire with 9 teams remaining, and here are the Redskins. Well, they haven't really done much at all this video other than one expansion, and now they gotta play against the powerhouse Miami Dolphins. You know, this was kind of the result I was expecting. I didn't really see the Washington Commanders staying really close in this game, because they've kind of just been sitting around the entire video, not expanding, not playing anybody. They just were not as good as the Miami Dolphins here, straightforward. You know, this is kind of a funny addition, because the Washington Redskins are the only team in this video so far that have not had a 99 player to give up, so I decided to give him 98 overall Trent Williams, the superstar at left tackle. And the Dolphins just continue to expand and expand. They have even more land, and they also share a border with the Baltimore Ravens, probably their next biggest threat currently. So here is the final 8 teams remaining on the map. Currently, the Dolphins are the biggest threat, and still, we have yet to see 2 of the biggest power-ups in Imperialism yet to be used. That's Clone and Afterlife. I'm sorry, Redskins, we're starting to get to the big hitters, and you just don't have much business being here. Speaking of big hitters, here's one of them right here. It's the San Francisco 49ers. Could it finally be time for the matchup? I like how I'm referring it to like that, almost like Michigan and Ohio State. I mean, this is a pretty important game for both sides. Or could it be Seattle, or could it be an expansion? Let's see. And the arrow will point towards the... Ooh, I think that's going towards the Cowboys. And yeah, it was pretty close too. It almost hit Seattle, but this hit the top of Utah. And so it's finally time for the biggest NFC matchup in the video. It's the Cowboys. It's the Niners in Dallas. Close scoring game between the Niners and Cowboys. Joe Montana is in some trouble. Has to sling it out of bounds. 4th and 10. He's going to have to punt the ball away. And the Niners defense will have to come up clutch here. We're going to start with a handoff to Emmitt Smith. But no, met at the line. 2nd down and 12. That was actually Tony Dorsett. Needing a stop right here. 3rd and 9. Aikman is going to pass. No, he's not. Aaron Donald with a second clutch play on this possession, and timeout called for the Niners with a 4th and 16. With 1 minute and 47 seconds and 1 timeout, they just have to find the end zone, but the Cowboys defense has been clutch, including J.J. Watt, an early addition for the Cowboys. They got him a long time ago. 2nd and 18. Long ways to go. The story of this game so far has been defense, and once again, the offensive line is just not protecting from J.J. Watt, who's going to give him a 4th and 18 now. And they don't have a choice. They have to go for it. They need 18 yards to gain here. Finally, some protection given, but Joe Montana still holds it for a very long time, but George Kittle is open, plus some more. He crosses midfield. How did he let that happen? Now with 1 minute remaining. Could very well be the final play of this game. Montana just going to throw it up, and 4th and 10. This is the final play. 4th and 10, 33 yards out. Has to go towards the end zone. He's going to get it there. Oh, there's a flag. I'm guessing it's going to be DPI, which is going to put the football at the 1-yard line. The Niners have a golden opportunity to score a touchdown right here. You couldn't ask for anything better than this. It's rigged. I know it's stupid, but for the win, yes, but there's a flag. What's the call here? Could it be on holding on the offense maybe? Maybe offensive pass interference? This is actually huge. Terrell Owens came up with a catch. They're not calling it a touchdown. Illegal players downfield? Are you kidding me? Illegal touching? When does it ever happen? And now, replay 2nd down and goal from the 1. No, game is over. They just declined it. Okay, I don't even know what just happened. That was probably the most controversial way to end a game like this ever. But the Dallas Cowboys just won 26-21. Troy Aikman survives, and the Niners out a little bit earlier than I thought they would be. So many good players I could give the Cowboys here, but the way he played that game, I couldn't pass on Aaron Donald, who is a current legend and will be a Hall of Famer eventually. And down goes the San Francisco 49ers, taken down by the Cowboys. Never thought I'd say that. Turn number 26, and we'll have the New Orleans Saints. Do they have a chance to get the clone power up? And it is going towards the east. And yeah, it looks like they got it by just a few pixels. It hits the bottom of Alabama. Finally, for the first time today, we can say we have the clone power-up in play. Here's a quick explanation of what it does. Essentially, it's going to give you another land area, but it also acts as a double life power-up. So I'm going to spin a wheel for the Saints for a random team that has yet to be claimed in this video. Whatever it lands on, the Saints will get to start a new land area in that state. But first act of matter, which player they're going to get for their expansion? Jerry Rice. So right here is a wheel with the 9 remaining unclaimed states. There's only 9 because we've kind of gotten far in this video without using the clone power-up. So whatever state this lands on, that is the state the Saints will start a new land area on. Alright, which state will host the Saints? It's going to be Montana. So as you can see, now Montana, owned by the New Orleans Saints, and they now share a border with the Seattle Seahawks. Do the Saints hold much of a chance this video? Who knows? But up next, it's the powerhouse Miami Dolphins. And honestly, they could be playing the Saints here too, or they could be expanding to West Virginia. And just like that, both the clone and afterlife power-ups were used on the same turn after this entire episode of waiting, and I can just explain the afterlife power pretty easily because all it is a second life power up, which means the Dolphins, they can play one game, lose, and they're still on the map, and that is just completely overpowered for the team that just got it. And I guess we're just currently dismantling what used to be the San Francisco 49ers because we're giving up Terrell Owens to the Miami Dolphins. Best of luck to the remaining 6 teams trying to beat the Miami Dolphins twice and then the Saints again. So the Saints are kinda SOL. They have to play the Cowboys or Dolphins, and in this case, it's going towards the Dolphins. The Saints have a chance to do something funny here, and they can beat the Dolphins and take away one of their lives as they have a first down completion in the 43 of the 2-minute warning. This could very well be the game if the Saints don't get this conversion right here. 4th and 1, they're going to fake the handoff. Drew Brees keeps it. Looking to pass, goes the opposite shoulder, and he throws a red zone interception. Why has that been a common theme today? And guess who it was? It was Deion Sanders. Well, the only chance Drew Brees has now is a 4th down and 10, in which he throws yet again another interception. Okay, so Dan Marino will take the knee down, and this game will end 27-21. I mean, Jesus, looks like Travis Kelce is going with Taylor Swift on tour too. But you know, not all hope is lost for the New Orleans Saints, because remember, just before that, they expanded for the clone power-up, but now they just reside mainly in Montana. So this is what our map looks like. We remain at 7 teams. The same 7 franchises live to see another day, but next up is the Baltimore Ravens. Their destination seems to be probably the Buffalo Bills. And yes, this arrow does scratch through the bottom side of West Pennsylvania, which is now owned by the Buffalo Bills. This is a really solid matchup as we'll travel to Buffalo against the Ravens and the Bills. Lamar Jackson delivers just short of the end zone, stopped at the 1-yard line as he's doing a headstand. Okay. Should be able to punch the rock forward. Lamar Jackson's going to keep it. He pitches it out and has a touchdown. I thought he fumbled at first. That was a very risky looking animation, but nonetheless it works. Lamar Jackson on the touchdown run, and the Ravens will strike first blood in OT to LT. From the 43, Allen does it again, but this time he converts it, and we've reached 1st and 10 to the 24. And now 11 yards out, going for a wheel route. It's an easy touchdown. What a drive for the Bills as Stephon Diggs capitalizes on a touchdown, extra point ties it. Short 3rd down and 1. What do they do here? They keep it with Lamar Jackson, and he's going to be short. They're going to have to punt the football probably. Josh Allen has been slinging the rock recently. As he does so here, that's going to cross midfield into Ravens territory. territory. Well, the Bills have been playing way too long. It's double overtime. They want to end it right here, right now. They will. The Ravens are off the map, and the Bills will join the top 6. Well, it's been a minute since we've said his name, but Randy Moss is now a Buffalo Bill. And I'll definitely give my props to the Ravens. They had a pretty solid run this video, but the Bills just the better team in the end. And here is the final 6 teams. I believe this is turn number 28, and we'll finally have the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle has a handful of options, but what most likely will happen will either be an expansion or against the Saints, but a long shot could be against the Cowboys. Which one of the 3 will it be? And it's going to probably be against the Saints. That will go through Montana, so this is the final chance for the New Orleans Saints as they will be home against the Seattle Seahawks. Well, what do you know? Another overtime game. This time Drew Brees, 3rd down and 16 from his own 19-yard line. He's down by 3, so they have to answer here, and Brees has a completion, and will he have a touchdown to win this game in OT? No, 1st down and goal from the 1-yard line. But all they gotta do is punch it forward and they will win this football game. There's just no way they can mess this up as they hand off to Alvin Kamara. He jogs his way in and the New Orleans Saints will take a win here against the Seattle Seahawks. And they will live to see another day. Down to the final 5. Definitely having his fair share of travels this video, that's going to be Darrelle Revis. And I'm definitely surprised to see the Saints make it to the final 5 as they're going to knock out the Seahawks. Not really the most top 5 worthy matchup, but hey, they made it here nonetheless. And so here is the final 5 teams. The Saints, the Broncos, the Cowboys, the Dolphins, and the Bills. And I just find it hilarious how still, every single episode, the Broncos find a way to make it all the way this far without doing a single thing. All they've done is expands once. They haven't played a single game yet. Maybe we can change that, however, but no, the Saints are up next again. The most likely outcome is an expansion here, as it's probably going to go towards one of the Dakotas. Yeah, as you can see, they completely dodged the Evolve power-up, completely dodged North Dakota, and now they have to share a border with the Miami Dolphins again. But you know what? They get to tag on a player along, and that's going to be middle linebacker Ray Lewis. That's interesting to say the least, but next up is the Denver Broncos. There they are. What are the chances that they end up expanding here? Okay, 100%. And this actually goes up north and goes through Wyoming, which means they will get the Evolved power-up. So this is a relatively new power-up for the series, but you've probably seen it a couple times already because I do like it. Essentially, the very bottom 2 players on the Broncos will be converted up to match the highest overall rated player on the Broncos currently. That's a mouthful, but hopefully it makes sense. But first, for the player steal, I'm going to be nice to him and I'm going to give them an X factor. That's going to be Justin Jefferson. Now, this is how Evolve power-up works. As you can see, their best player is rated 99 overall. So if I go ahead and sort this by very worst players by clicking X, you can see that these 2 players right here, Quinn Bailey and next up also William Sherman, both of them will be converted to a 99 overall as well. So now essentially the Evolve power-up just gave the Broncos 2 more 99 overalls. This power-up definitely works better not in Legend Edition when everyone's not a 99 overall, but nonetheless still adding 2 99 overalls is still pretty powerful. The CEOs of expanding are back at it again, but next up are the Dallas Cowboys. What are the Cowboys going to be doing this time? And I don't know. It looks like the Cowboys have had enough of the Broncos' BS and they're actually going to play them for the first time today. This is the first game the Broncos are playing. Don't mess it up. Do you believe in miracles? If the Broncos get 2 first downs, this game is over. It's got to start with this one for John Elway right at the marker. They're going to call it 4th down and 1, and the first timeout's called with the Cowboys. I think they'll be punting. Under a minute. Another quick pass. Intercepted! Troy Aikman threw it right to this dude. Right to the middle linebacker, which I think, is that Ray Lewis? Is that Ray Lewis? No, it's not. It's a white dude. I forgot what team I put him on. But no, the Broncos are going to win this game now. Just to add salt to the wound, Troy Aikman just threw another interception, and this game is just 100% over now. And now that it's set in stone, maybe the Denver Broncos deserve to be in the top 4. If they beat the Cowboys, they probably deserve to be here. But surprising. Once again, this selection is purely based off of the X Factor. Remember, all the legends that are custom made can't have X Factors. It's definitely a plus up if you have one, so that's why I'm selecting Aaron Donald. You know, this might just be the most land the Broncos have ever owned in any Imperialism video ever. This is the most orange I've ever seen, definitely. And here are our final 4 teams. Once we get this far, every single spin counts, but it's the Buffalo Bills up next. Technically, there's still a chance the Bills can expand, but yeah, this is going towards the Dolphins. And even if the Bills do win, the Dolphins are still on the map, so all they can do is just try to take off one of their lives. Well, the Bills did pretty good in this video, but not good enough, because the Dolphins are just the clear #1 threat, winning this game 31-13. And this means Randy Moss will join forces with Terrell Owens on the Miami Dolphins. And a good run to the Bills, but they fall just short of the top 3 teams, which to my surprise, and probably everyone's surprise, are going to be the Saints, Broncos, and Dolphins. And I think there's one clear contender. I would be surprised if the Dolphins don't pull this out. And now on to the final 3 teams, where we'll start with the New Orleans Saints. If the Saints are lucky, they could get an expansion, but more than likely it's pointing down to the Broncos. And congratulations to the Miami Dolphins for clinching a championship game appearance, because the Saints and Broncos will play up for the runner-up game. This is going to be a tough one. Drew Brees versus John Elway. If the game was to end right now, the Saints would be playing the Dolphins, but the Broncos have something to say about that, because at the 48-yard line, Elway delivers, but out of bounds, it's going to be 3rd and 10. The difference is only a single point, and both teams have all 3 timeouts. Can't get the first down here, but we'll get close as we'll go into the 2-minute warning of the 4th down and 3. It looks like they're going to go for it. It would be like a 55-yard kick from this range, so I really don't blame them. John Elway, empty formation, has an open receiver. That's a first down. Is that going to be Justin Jefferson? That's right. It's exactly why I gave it to him, for clutch plays like that. This is essentially the last chance for the Saints to force a stop. It's 3rd down and 1. They could force a field goal from this, but okay, actually they are. 4th and 1. That was a horrible pass by John Elway. This means that the Saints are going to get the football back with 1:20 on the clock and 1 timeout. Drew Brees is down by 2 points. Here's the first play for the 19-yard line. Drew Brees fakes it and has a completion to the 39. And after that Reggie Bush catch, it led him down to 30 seconds and 2nd down and 7, where threading the needle, can't quite get the completion. Good defense. Anything and everything is 4th down territory for Drew Brees and the Saints, so if they don't get it, they have to go for it no matter what. But it looks like he's going to go for a long shot. A long time was taken off the clock there, but not until he finds a completion to Michael Thomas at the 40. And I think this is where they kick the field goal. This is Mile High City, so it could be an easier kick. It's about a 55-yard attempt, and wide left. The Saints will lose this game, and the Broncos will head to the championship with a miss field goal. And Mile High, too. So John Elway will take a knee to end this game 19-17. Broncos will win, and here's our final player steal for the video. And that will be Jerry Rice. So now the 3 receivers that John Elway will have to throw to will be Justin Jefferson, Andre Johnson, and Jerry Rice. That's pretty scary. Very surprised by the Saints in this episode. They had a great run, but the Denver Broncos, actually a pretty solid team, and the Saints will be eliminated. So our final game will be between the Broncos and the Dolphins, and it's going to be a hard uphill battle for the Denver Broncos, because they have to beat the Dolphins twice. The Dolphins still haven't lost their afterlife power-up. I don't see them coming out of this one, but who knows what will happen. Alright, so here's the final wheel spin. Remember, this one's usually pretty important because it's going to determine who's home and who's away. Whatever team it lands on, they're attacking and they would be on the road, so the Denver Broncos will have to go to Miami. There definitely is a chance this can be an expansion, so I just want to make sure. I still think that's going towards Miami's land. Yeah, the air is going to go towards Arkansas, obviously under control of Miami now, so here is our final matchup. The Broncos have to go to Miami, and they'll have to beat them twice. The Broncos are not leaving without a fight, however. They don't want to be counted out just yet because they just forced a 3rd down and 4 and are up by 6 points. From the 31, Elway for the first down. They don't get it. It's going to be 4th and inches. The Dolphins definitely want to end this now. They don't want to have to play another game, and they will get the completion to the 43. It's going to go to guess who? Travis Kelce. Mr. Podcast has made an impact on every single team he's played on in this video. He's made a bunch of clutch plays. Now here's a 3-yard pickup, which is essentially doing nothing. For my next year Madden's wish list, I wish teams were smart enough to call timeouts when it mattered, and now Travis Kelce has a really rare drop. I take back everything good I just said about you. And 3rd down and 7, Marino has good protection, which gets him up into a receiver. 1st down and 10 to the 36. What a pass and catch. So still with all 3 timeouts in half a minute, Dan Marino up the middle of the field. Here's the completion. We're inside the red zone. Timeouts called at the 12. You would have to think, with the way Madden works with its clock, this could definitely be the final play of the game if it's not a good completion, but that does give him another chance. It's going to be 4th down, however. And here it is, 4th down and 2. Marino's going to go a quick pass. It's caught for the touchdown, and an extra point would take the lead to Mark Clayton. Just a simple slant pass, a very tight window with 2 defenders coming up on the pass. They couldn't get to it in time, and now this extra point would take the lead. And you can see ever since Tua was demoted as starting quarterback, you can see he's now holding the snaps for the field goal kicker. Hopefully it's enough to take the lead, as it is 21-20. Broncos have 2 timeouts in 15 seconds. And after an Andre Johnson completion to the 35, this very well could be the final play of the video. They do have 1 timeout. Let's just see if they can get this off quickly. and Elway will just float this one up and nearly intercepted, but there's zeros on the board. The Miami Dolphins will win Imperialism Episode 8 Throwback Edition with an excellent game-winning drive. This one, 21-20. People say Dan Marino never won anything in his career. You lied. He just won something right now. And now we get to my favorite part of Imperialism. That's going to be coloring the entire country one color. This time it's Miami blue. Well, there you have it. The United States of America has been jointed together under the Miami Dolphins. Kind of funny that this happened because I remember basically hinting that this was going to happen very beginning in the video. Not saying it's 1972, but is it possible we can see an undefeated run by these Miami Dolphins? I said something like maybe they go on an undefeated run. Well, sure enough, they did. But if you thought that was the end of the video, hold up just a second. You've already watched about 55 minutes. You can watch just a few more. I have new history leaderboard changes. So there's a new metric which is going to determine how teams place. In the past, I only did turns lasted, and that was just kind of flawed. So here's the new metric. It's just called Imperialism points, which I'll be shortened up for IP. As you can see, there's 5 different ways I keep score. It's with these colorful boxes right here, being turns lasted, wins, losses, expansions, and an Imperialism win. And here are the points which you get for each of those categories. So 1 point per turn, 10 per win, 10 per expansion, minus 10 for each loss, and 50 for each Imperialism win. So just an example, I have the Kansas City Chiefs. Let's just say these are numbers. This is not their numbers at all. If they have 123 turns lasted, that's 123 points. And here's their win-loss expansion ratio. As you can see, 10, 5, and 4. That equals out to this. 100 points plus 40 points minus 50 points in the red. And then obviously they won Imperialism, they would add 50 points. So X equals 263. I don't know why I set this up like an algebra problem, but there you have it. But now with that being said, we can take a look at the actual standings. So here's 32-25. And you can see the Indianapolis Colts, even though they went on that hefty win streak of 2 games, they are last place. They only have 21 Imperialism points with a 2-7 record. Obviously, that's because they haven't won a single game before this episode, but you know what? They're catching up on some ground right now. The Steelers are kind of surprising to me. They're not much higher. They're 3-7 with 28 IP, and then you can see some teams get into the 40s, 60s, and even the Falcons at 25. They have 80 IP and a 4-7-2 record. Now let's go up to 24-17. It's going to start with the Arizona Cardinals. Their record just sucks. It's 1-7-3, but the Seahawks just above them. This is the reason why I had to change this metric, because they have 138 turns lasted, which is more than anybody on this page right here. But look at their record. That's why they should really be this low. They're 1-7-2, and that equals out to 98 IP. But once we get to rank 22, you can see every team has over 100 Imperialism points, starting with the Texans, the Jaguars. The Eagles are kind of low. The Rams, even with 99 turns lasted, and then going to the Commanders and Vikings at 17. But now we're going into the top half of the league, starting with 16, which is a surprise to me. It's the New York Jets at a 6-9-4 record with 140 turns lasted. Next up is the Saints, who just got the 3rd place in this video. The Ravens, the Bills, Patriots definitely surprised, but you don't know why they're this high. They have 10 expansions. It's kind of easy to get expansions when you're in New England. There's not much occupied states up there. The Titans are another surprising team. They have a 10-7-5 record, but do remember I've been doing this for an entire year, so there's definitely a lot of opportunities to win games in past teams. And then the Carolina Panthers, also surprising, at the 10th spot, 8-7-9 record with 225 IP, and the Chiefs didn't make the top 8, but they still have 226 points at an 8-7-7 record. And now it's time to look at the big hitters, the top 8, in which 7 of these 8 teams have won an Imperialism episode, all but 1, and that's the Denver Broncos. We'll get to them in a second, but you can see the Chargers, even with the 101 turns, they're at 8 because they have an Imperialism win, followed by the Green Bay Packers, and then the Miami Dolphins have found themselves in the 6th spot now after winning today's episode and going on a 5-0 record. Next up is the Bengals, then the Raiders, who surprised me, but once again they won an Imperialism, and then here's the Denver Broncos, who are this high because they last super long every single episode, and they have the most expansions by far with 13. But now up to 2nd place, the San Francisco 49ers with 311 points and a 10-7-6 record, but not even close to them in 1st place, 140 point margin essentially, the Dallas Cowboys, who have the most turns lasted and the most wins with 204 TL and a 19-7-8 record with 1 Imperialism win. That is insane. Now I can definitely agree with the Cowboys being the best team in Imperialism, but to say say that it's definitely not a little fraudulent would be a lie, considering they get to play basically the Saints, the Texans, and Cardinals every game, and they're also right next to New Mexico and Oklahoma, so they get easy expansions and easy wins right off the rip. But still, they're a really good team. They have 19 wins. It kind of just proves it right there. But yeah, that's all the stats I'm keeping up with. I'm definitely going to expand on it with the future. From here on out, every single episode of Imperialism that has all 32 teams will include the Imperialism point metric. Definitely a lot more balanced than it used to be in the past. But thank you guys for watching Imperialism Throwback Edition, and I will see you guys next time for more Madden videos.